Hi everyone, I'm Imogen from Course Report. We are a resource for researching which coding bootcamp is right for you. We have a directory of different coding schools, a blog, and interviews with founders, instructors, and students, all to help you work out which bootcamp you want to go to. Today, I'm speaking with 3 DigitalCrafts students, Lizzie, Nick, and Sarah, who have all taken the DigitalCrafts Full Stack Flex program, which is a 26-week part-time coding bootcamp. We're going to chat about why they each chose to learn to code part-time, how they balance their studies with their other commitments, and what their goals are for the future. So Lizzie, Nick, and Sarah, thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for having us.
So I'm interested in what each of your backgrounds are and how your paths led you to enroll in the DigitalCrafts Coding Bootcamp. Maybe Lizzie, you can start.
Sure. I actually got a degree in communications and started with a digital marketing company as an intern out of college. I started with them more as a freelance writer doing content, but I was more interested in the tech side of things, some of their web design and web development projects. So I voiced that, ended up taking a full-time job here as a project coordinator for the web development team. But I had pretty little training on actual web development. So I got in a situation where I was hiring freelance devs without knowing enough of the details. So I had the idea to do this to sort of continue my work here and sort of put myself in a better place to further my career down the line here.
That's awesome. And then Nick, what about you?
Well, I had a degree just basically in just information technology. So I had a lot of like help desk kind of jobs, worked at a couple places, just pretty much answering phone calls, helping, troubleshoot applications and things like that. I definitely wanted to change that. Like I kind of did get a little tired of, kind of just being the one troubleshooting, just, on the phones and things like that. I actually wanted to create. And so that's when a friend of mine helped me stumble upon DigitalCrafts, just a nice boot camp where I could learn full stack and definitely give me the hands-on experience that I really wanted.
That's awesome. And then Sarah, what about you? What's your background and how did your path lead you to DigitalCrafts?
So my background is actually in education. I have a degree in anthropology. I ended up at a financial investment firm where I was doing project coordinating for the software dev teams. And I realized I just wanted to know what they were actually doing, what it meant when we were putting story points in our Scrum process, and what it would take for me to create, like how could I estimate my own time. So I decided to go through DigitalCrafts part-time to get on the other side instead of scrumming and managing dev teams, to actually be the dev.
That's very cool. And so I'm interested in why each of you specifically chose to do the part-time flexible bootcamp. Maybe we can go in the same order again. Lizzie, maybe you can go first.
Sure. I just didn't want to put my career totally on hold to do sort of the 8 to 5 or the full-time schooling. So I thought the flex was a great opportunity to keep moving forward in my career, but also being able to advance in other ways as well.
Very cool. And Nick?
Yeah, so just having a full-time job, being married, having a family, it was, really important that I, could manage that. So doing the full-time just wasn't really an option at the time, but so grateful that DigitalCrafts did have the part-time. So I feel like that it was the best of both worlds. I could, still, study and work on coding, but then also having time for my family and work.
Wow, that's awesome. And then Sarah, what about you? Why did you decide to do the part-time program?
Right, same. I have a toddler at home. I'm a homeowner. My husband is a teacher. So losing an income was not possible for us. It had to be something that I could do part-time.
Okay, great. And so, and then the next one I was interested in is why you each chose DigitalCrafts over any other options for learning to code. So Lizzie, let's go back to you.
Sure. I had heard really good things about DigitalCrafts, and I actually had a coworker who sort of referred me and made me aware of the program, and also it's in a really great location for me in Buckhead, so it was all just really convenient, and I was really impressed during the interview process with this space and everyone I met, so that's why I chose it.
Awesome. And then Nick?
Yeah, sort of the same. I actually had a previous coworker who actually he actually quit our job to start the full-time program. And then, I kind of walked up to him and asked him, like, so what's going on? Where are you going? He's like, yeah, I'm going to Digital Crafts. And I was like, oh, what's that? He's like, it's a coding boot camp. So I kind of got interested, and that's when I started looking into it. And then I just started looking at the tech stack. So just Node and React are really big in the industry right now. I use React in my job right now. So definitely the tech stack, what they teach, because it's so relevant and so, what we're definitely going to be seeing out in the field, that definitely attracted me to Digital Crafts.
That's awesome. And then Sarah, what about you? What attracted you to DigitalCrafts?
I was attracted by the location, so it was close to me in downtown Houston. I was also attracted by the stack. It was really relevant. And then also looking at the curriculum, I looked at a lot of boot camps that I felt like were trying to squeeze too much into too short of a time, or had too short of a time for too much money. And being familiar with a lot of the technology already and knowing what real developers were using in industry, I had a very focused agenda of like what I wanted to see on a curriculum. And Digital Crafts just checked all those boxes for me.
Oh, that's awesome that you each were able to find something that really fit with what you were looking for. That's great. And then I'm interested in what a typical day is like when you're studying in this part-time program. Would one of you like to just go through that? Because I'm sure it's probably, you've probably all had a similar experience.
Yeah, I can go. So normally a typical day, I remember we used to just go into class, kind of just see what everyone's pretty much working on. But, the teacher would kind of get up, kind of just give us a refresher on what we learned the day before, which was really good. He helped us asked us if we wanted to run through any code, so we can show him how we came up with a solution. And then he'll teach us either if there's like a better way for it. He would show us what he felt like he, would do differently. So it definitely gave us like hands-on, seeing someone that actually, has been in the industry, having those professors there, showing you, critiquing your way of doing it, but then also helping you figure out a better way to do it. And then after the refresher from the previous day, we would just go into the new material, and then definitely one thing I did like is there wasn't a lot of lecturing, which was really good. So he kind of just give us the couple slides or a couple topics. It was very discussion like, and then we just went straight into coding, and that's what I really liked about it.
Awesome. Thanks for that overview, Nick. That was great. And then Lizzie or Sarah, could one of you maybe tell us a little bit about the schedule that the program followed and how that fit in with your day?
Sure. Yeah, so the schedule for mine is Tuesday and Thursdays at 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And then Saturdays from 10 to 2, which is really convenient because it gives you a little bit of break if you get off, 4 or 5 to get through the traffic and kind of decompress or go early. Office hours are always an hour early, so there's always someone there sort of helping us work through some stuff. And then, yeah, I also like that it's not going super late into the night as well. So it's a pretty convenient schedule.
That's awesome. Yeah, so Sarah, I'm gonna ask all of you this question, but Sarah, maybe you can start and tell us about how the teaching style kind of fit with your own learning style.
Yeah, I definitely learn better in a classroom and with a schedule to follow. So I had done a lot of online learning on my own, and I just wasn't able to stick to it as dutifully as I wanted to. So having a place to show up every day, having really challenging but fun instructors. I was lucky enough to have Chris and Amanda, and their energy for coding was just contagious. I mean, I became obsessed. I wanted to show up and have conversations with them. It was a lot of fun for me. So it really matched my style that I was looking for, of engaging with other people regularly.
And then, Lizzie, what about you? How did the teaching style fit with your learning style?
It's been really great so far. I came in as pretty much a true beginner. I'd been around the material and I did the pre-work, but past that, I was pretty fresh. And so the thing that works best for me is just having the 2 DIRs in there and an instructor floating around. It's a really great sort of teacher to student ratio. So I'm able to ask a lot of questions, and I do ask a lot of questions, and they're lovely and patient. And that's just really been beneficial, that there's sort of so many bodies and so many people who know what they're doing in the room with you. That's sort of always available.
That's awesome. And Nick, what about you? Did the teaching style fit your learning style okay?
Yeah. So yeah, just I really like that we were able to kind of walk through the code. Like I said, just beginning of the class, just the teacher pulling up just Visual Studio Code, and everyone's kind of seeing how he walks through it. So at that point in time, when we see something I might have a question about, I'm able to just raise my hand and ask. And then I could even get input from someone sitting next to me or someone sitting across the room. So it's good. Just I like that being able to just walk through the code and kind of step by step coming to the conclusion how you might have solved a problem. So it definitely fit my learning style that way.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad that worked out for all of you. And then I'm interested in how you were each able to balance your studies with your other commitments. Sarah, maybe you can go first on this one and kind of tell me about what commitments you were trying to balance and what kind of steps you took to try and make sure you could kind of dedicate enough time to everything you needed.
Yeah, so I know it's counterintuitive, but one of the big reasons I decided to make a career switch was because of my son. So when I joined DigitalCrafts, he was only, maybe 2 years old at the time. But I just knew, I was like, this is something I want. I want to have a career that's rewarding enough for me to leave him at daycare every day. And so my husband was all in. He knew that it was going to be better for my entire family. We both agreed like the earning potential that I was going to gain after the boot camp was worth it for our family. And so it was a lot of sacrifice on his part too, to support us through that time. But then because it was something I was so passionate about and we both knew was going to have big rewards, it made it a lot easier to bear. And the time that DigitalCrafts requires, the support they gave, it just didn't even end up being, that challenging. Like, we had a lot of fun through it. We're still friends with a lot of the people that were in my class. And so it was a big gain, I think, for all of us.
Well done for being able to juggle all that. It sounds like a lot to think about, but that's so nice that your partner was available to help. And then Lizzie, what about you? How did you manage to balance your, working full time with studying at DigitalCrafts?
Yeah, it varies by the week, but I think just when I can, I try to get to class early on the few days I can, get there before work, and when I can't, really just sort of blocking off the time in advance that I know I need to study, whether it's on the Sunday or after class when it's fresh on Saturday. Or in the morning before work, just sort of blocking off that time. And like Sarah was saying, I'm excited about the opportunities that can come from it. So I know that it's worth it for now.
That's awesome. And then Nick, what about you? Because I know you said you were balancing a job and a family. And so I'm interested in how you were able to kind of, keep all the cogs moving in different parts of your life.
Yeah, it definitely took a lot of discipline, and definitely like building out an actual schedule. I definitely was someone that I definitely needed help building out a schedule. My wife was definitely helpful. And, when I got home, all right, this is the time I need to start coding, after work. I had to set that time aside. So yeah, even the days when I was tired, and I probably didn't feel like looking at, code or JavaScript, I always kept pushing myself to make sure that I stuck to that schedule, and I worked on something every day. And I definitely knew that like everyone else mentioned, the benefits that would come from me getting through this would definitely be rewarding for all the hard work.
Wow, yeah, it sounds like you had to work so hard to get through all that, but yeah, well done. And then I'm interested in how DigitalCrafts was able to support each of you in making sure you were able to juggle your coding and your other commitments. Like, did they provide any kind of particular schedule help or extra time that you could make up things if you had to miss something or anything like that? Sarah, maybe you can go first on this one.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So one of the best things about DigitalCrafts is all of the lectures are recorded. And so especially if you let your teachers know, like, hey, I'm going to miss, then they know to set the Zoom recording. And you can always watch it again later. There were times where if I struggled through a lecture, I might even go watch it again just because, even if I'd been there that day. So that was really helpful.
Awesome. And then Lizzie, what about you? Was there anything that stood out about what DigitalCrafts is able to do to help make sure you can balance your commitments?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Zoom recordings are extremely helpful. And then I think, again, just the DIRs being there to answer questions is like the biggest helpfulness to me, because you can't really get that outside of a classroom environment like that.
Awesome. And then Nick, did you have anything to add on that topic?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. The DIRs definitely were so helpful with setting up kind of like after class little kind of meetings. Even the people in our classes, we would sometimes meet before class started and maybe go over what we were working on the day before or the week before. If anyone had any questions, we kind of just buddied up. And again, I had one of my DRs even have like a little side kind of course about React Native, which wasn't on the class agenda, but definitely helped us out, got us really into React very quickly. So I thought that was very beneficial. Yeah.
That's awesome. And could you just clarify what's a DIR? I just heard a couple of you mention that.
I don't believe it's like.
It's the developer in residence.
In residence, there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like the TAs of the class. A lot of them are former graduates of the program. And then it's usually like one graduate of the program and one industry resource. Someone who's either working already or like one of my DRs was an amazing senior from Rice University. And he blew our minds constantly with everything he knew.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for explaining that. That sounds like a really awesome resource to have. Very cool. And then what sort of tips do any of you have for getting through juggling a part-time boot camp and your job or other commitments? Lizzie, maybe you can go first with any tips you have for other people who want to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we were saying earlier, just, making sure you keep to a schedule. I think for this industry in particular, just especially with the vastness of everything, just getting really used to reading documentation and going back through notes and knowing that that's okay, that that's where you are, and just sort of the patience of learning all of it and getting experience in all of it is really important to remember, I think. And I remind myself of it all the time. If I don't know something, just go find the documentation and then you'll know it. So just keep digging. Even after we learn something in class, like there's so much more on every topic that can still be uncovered.
That's great advice. And Nick, do you have any tips for other people thinking of going through a boot camp like this?
Yeah, just keeping to a schedule, and just sticking with it. There's going to be times you might get frustrated. I think we all had those moments where we got frustrated, because it really is, learning something completely new. So there's going to be some low times, but just stick with it, knowing that, this, what you're looking at right now, might be hard for you to understand, looking at, say you're just looking at a code base, but sooner or later, you're going to look through it and instantly understand what's it doing, what's going on. So yeah, just sticking with it, being diligent, and just, sticking to that schedule.
Nice. And then Sarah, do you have any tips for people who are planning to juggle, childcare and study and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I would say, so I'd say two things. I'd say one is leave your ego at the door. It's new for everyone. There's going to be something you're better at. There's going to be something someone else is better at. It's all learning, and there's just so much to take from each other. And then that's the second thing I would say is really go all in with your cohort, make friends, get people's phone numbers, network, even if there's not something that you know that you need from them right now. You don't know where they're going to be in 10 years. And so it's fun. It's a good opportunity to build that network from day one.
That's great advice. Yeah, I'm sure you all had lots of interesting people in your cohorts. And then Lizzie, you're still in the program, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little over halfway.
Awesome. So I was wondering if maybe you could tell me a little bit about your goals for when you graduate.
Sure. Yeah. So once I graduate here, I hope to sort of move into actually doing more of the web developing on some of our redesigns, and just sort of build that up here. Eventually, I'd love to sort of move up on the ranks of web development. Still probably keeping some of the project management aspects because I do enjoy that. But it's just going to make me so much more effective at my job. Being able to really understand what's going on, understand what the developers are doing, and also just be able to jump in there and help out with the development whenever possible.
That's awesome. And Lizzie, has your job been quite supportive of you doing this program?
Yes, they've been extremely supportive. Actually, they partially funded the program. They've been great at accommodating sort of the hours of it. They've answered a lot of questions. So I'd say if you're in an industry like that, and the worst they can say is no. If you present it really well and tell them sort of the stack you're going to come out with, how it'll directly benefit them to help you out, you never know what they're going to say.
Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. And then Nick and Sarah, I believe you two have both already graduated from the program. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. So Nick, could you tell me a bit about your experience after you graduated, your job hunting experience, and how you were able to progress your career from there?
Yeah, so I definitely, towards the end of the boot camp, I definitely started job hunting, very seriously. So just started applying for almost anything I could find, really. It did take me about, I believe, like 2 months to find a job. So it was a lot of work, a lot of alerts coming to your phone, just kind of like those emails, talking to a lot of recruiters, going to the meetups around Atlanta, just really networking to try to get your name out there and your resume in people's hands. So definitely that's what I did. And yeah, so got my job, got a job offer around June 10th of this year. So that was very exciting. And again, my job right now uses React, which was, the front end library that we used at DigitalCrafts. So it's definitely a good road getting here to this point. I'm definitely excited about it.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Well done. That's so cool. Yeah, Nick, maybe you can just tell me a little bit more about your job. What if you're okay with telling me a bit more about it, like maybe about your role and your what you're working on.
Yeah, so I work at a company where we work on I would say kind of like mechanical pre-maintenance. I guess that's a way I can say it. So pretty much I build I'm a front-end engineer first off. So pretty much I build the front-end UI of our technology that's going to help different companies determine when they're, it could be machinery or kind of like jet engines, when they might need to be maintenance. So pretty much I'm working on the UI for that, which is going to be very, very intuitive, very user-friendly. And again, using it with React, which is a very, very well-known, very, well-supported front-end library. So there's a lot of tools that I've been able to use, to build out, the UI as best as I could, as best as I can. And I definitely trying to think what else I was going to say about it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do at my job now. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds really awesome. Well, I'll skip to my last question now, and then if Sarah comes back, I'll ask her about her job. So would each of you be able to talk about whether this part-time coding bootcamp has been worth it for you so far? Like maybe in terms of, outcome or quality of life, or, I mean, for Lizzie, you could talk about, how you expect it to be worth it.
I mean, I think it's going to be sort of an invaluable resource to me, especially with some project management experience as well. I mean, I think it's just going to open up an entire new world for me, career-wise. And then just going through this, it's a real personal fulfillment as well. It's definitely probably the most challenging thing I've sort of jumped off into. But it's been really rewarding, and even though it gets discouraging at times and you feel like you're drowning sometimes in the course material, just getting through that, and as soon as you get it, and as soon as you can get your code to run properly and you get the result that you're wanting, it's just really exciting and fulfilling to get over that challenge.
That's awesome. Very cool. And then Nick, would you say that DigitalCrafts has been worth it for you?
Yes, definitely. To be honest, I honestly don't think I would have gotten here if it wasn't for DigitalCrafts. Just the support, the help, the networking, just the tech stack. Like most people, I tried to study on my own, tried to do a lot of little online things, but being able to be in a classroom with probably less than maybe like 15 people, and just having that support from, your teachers, your kind of assistant DIRs, definitely helped me to get to where I am now. It definitely has opened up my, so many opportunities career-wise for me. There were times in my last jobs where, I was working, late nights on weekends and, just kind of really, really, spending a lot of time, overnight. And now I can kind of, go home to my family, of course, making a lot more than I was. But it's definitely helped me to support my family. It's definitely helped me to, pave out, a great, road for my career. And there's definitely so much more technologies that I want to get to learn. And, this DigitalCrafts has helped me to get there. And I definitely would recommend it to anyone else. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool that it's really been so helpful to you. That's awesome. Well, it looks like Sarah isn't coming back yet. So we'll just have to finish off, I think, without her. So thank you all so much for joining and sharing your stories with me. I'm really excited to keep hearing about your progress in the future. And yeah, all the best for your future careers as software developers.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks. It was
Cool.
nice to meet you both.
Thanks a lot. Great to meet you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
You too. See ya.
Bye.